Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up. Our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. I'm sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today, we'll be talking to Ashley, who is a family nurse practitioner. Currently, she's working part-time at a weight loss clinic, an urgent care, and a mental health practice. She's starting her own mental health practice, but is open to the idea of something else depending on market conditions. She's needing assistance on how to market her practice, obtaining quality leads, and building a successful practice from the get-go. Hey, Ashley, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for hopping on here. So tell us a little about yourself. How long have you been a nurse practitioner for, and what sorts of things you've been doing?
So I've been a nurse practitioner for about 6 years, and I started in a community health center working mostly pediatric primary care. But I did, working at a community health center, you kind of do a little bit of everything. So I did adult medicine, school-based care, and then mostly pediatric primary care. Then I started working about 2 years ago in psychiatry exclusively, 100% remote from home. And then I was let go in March. And so since then, I've been working remotely with 1099 positions, doing urgent care, psychiatry, and medical weight loss.
Gotcha. Okay. Curious, why were you let go of that other job?
So it is a strictly psychiatric app, and they were moving away from using family nurse practitioners, I think because they started to get credentialed with insurance companies, and they reimburse more for psychiatric nurse practitioners than they do family nurse practitioners.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
So we were all let go. There were like 30 FNPs that were let go at the same time.
Oh, geez. I've heard similar stories too of FNPs working, in the hospital as a hospitalist or, the ER or whatever, and they have like 10 years of experience. And the hospital says you get your acute care license or you're out of here. And it's just like, what?
The real kicker is I was in school. I have almost finished my postgraduate certificate in psychiatry, stopped because they offered me a W-2 full-time salary position. And then a year later, let me go. And I didn't get to finish like the certificate that would have, I guess, ensured that I still had a job. So it was kind of brutal.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. It is what it is. Well, it gives you the kick in the ass to start your own thing, right?
Exactly. I think it happened for a reason.
That's right. That's right. So you turn a negative into a positive, there's a lot of business owners out there, including myself, that usually, some sort of negative experience is what motivates you to get started. So it's a blessing in disguise.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I'm sure working salary positions, they want every single minute that you can give them. And so it was stressful. It was, we're underpaid and overworked for sure. So this was definitely a wake-up call to do something with more freedom for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 40.
40. Okay, about the same age as me. So this is a good time. It's a good time to get started. Once you start getting into your mid to late 40s or even your 50s, it just gets harder and harder. So you starting right now is an opportune time. Um, so you have salary coming in from these jobs. I'm assuming you've made up the difference, and for the most part, you live pretty decent off this.
Well, I've only been doing them for about 6 weeks, so it's getting there.
Gotcha. Okay. But it should pay for your lifestyle, though,
It
for the
should.
most part.
These jobs just take time because you're paid per visit, so you have to build your client base. So my schedule's not full, but it's we're good. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. And you're being paid as a 1099, correct?
Yes.
All right. Have you set up an LLC and all that kind of stuff, and the LLC is being paid?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So first step here, I know you're in the startup phase of opening your own practice, but the first step here is, form the LLC. If you already have one, great. Use that LLC, the same LLC that you're going to be running your practice through. Just go ahead and just have that LLC paid directly from the 1099 position. That way you can use that money through your business starting it up, and you can write all that stuff off.
That is brilliant. I wish I had thought of that. I didn't know you could do that. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Hell yeah, you can do that. So, that's what I did when I first started my men's health practices. So I was working, PRN 1099 in the ER, and also at a Suboxone clinic, a methadone clinic that had a Suboxone program that I was seeing patients in, and they paid me 1099. I was making like $100 an hour. All that money would go directly into my men's health LLC, and I was able to use that money to invest into my practice and build it. And so the first 3 months or so, like I would go work in the ER or go work at the Suboxone practice. The money that was then deposited in my men's health clinic account then went to like my medical assistant to pay him until we brought income in. So yeah, there's a lot of upfront sacrifice there. So that's what I would do if I was you.
So much easier to keep track of everything if it's all in the same place too.
Correct. Yes, your accountant will love that. It'll be super easy. Yeah.
Yes.
Get a business credit card, run everything on that business credit card. Your bank account there will have income coming in from your 1099 positions. All that income will then be used through your business. So you'll be able to write off and offset a lot of that income and ultimately lower your tax bill at the end of the year. So it really is a win-win. Um, so yeah, so go ahead and do that. So what kind of practice are you wanting to start?
So I wanted to do basically I didn't like being in the psychiatry box. I'm family practice. So of course I want to make sure that a woman who's 40 who is depressed and has low energy, she needs her hormones checked too. We don't need to just throw Zoloft at her all the time.
Sure.
So I like the idea of having my own practice where I have the freedom to do that. So it's not strictly psychiatry, but I'm sort of starting there, but really like an integrative medicine type practice where I can do medical weight loss if that is appropriate for the patient. But not, I didn't want to call it primary care because I feel like that's too broad of an area, and I don't want to treat like diabetes and hypertension all day.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame you. This is the power of having an FNP, right? Like it really is the most broad certification a nurse practitioner can get. So, you can do mental health, you can do weight loss, you can do primary care, you can just do just about anything, really.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. So I think the integrative approach is probably the best idea. You're gonna have to just figure out how are you going to separate yourself from everyone else? Now, are you wanting to do this predominantly telemed, or are you open to opening a brick and mortar practice as well?
So initially, I wanted to do strictly telemedicine. I'm licensed in 8 states and I live in a restrictive state. So I am currently paying a physician to be on my license. Um, and I do have patients from my previous job who are asking about me. I'm still in touch with some of the therapists and they want to find me. Um, so I think I need a South Carolina license. And then if that's the case, since I'm paying for a collab, I was thinking maybe I should have like a hybrid model so that I can do more like locally with my community.
Yeah. Yeah. The hybrid model is the best model. Uh, I don't think I would do solely telemed. I don't think I would do solely brick and mortar. You need to be doing both. Um, so I think that's a good idea. I mean, you're already paying this collaborator anyways, so go ahead and use that.
Mhm.
And you are local, and you have patients already interested. So you're going to start on the up and up here, and already have some business coming in right from the get go. So, I mean, I think that's just a no brainer.
The only problem is I live in an area where rent for commercial spaces is very high. I live in a tourist town, so it's like extremely expensive.
Gotcha. Okay. Like, how expensive are we talking?
The last one I looked at was like 3,000 a month.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a
Uh,
lot.
Yeah. Is that in a good spot though? Like, visibility on the main street?
And not probably not even. No, I mean, if I want something like that, it's probably closer to 5 or 6,000 a
Oh,
month.
geez. So you can't find something that's 500 square feet, kind of in a hole in the wall somewhere. It might be $1,000 a month.
I might be able to talk to some friends. It's a small town. I can maybe talk to some friends who might have like an office space above a gym or something like that that I might be able to use. And someone else I was talking to was saying that I should think about like going in on a space with other providers that might be interested in also doing like part-time so that I use it on, Mondays and Wednesdays and they use it on Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever, something like that.
I would
So,
avoid that if you can. Um, yeah, avoid that because it it makes your practice kind of unbranded because you have like multiple brands, multiple businesses in one spot, and it can be kind of confusing to patients.
mhm.
And so that might not be the best idea. I would say do this on your own if you can.
Okay, so then I would probably have to start off just as a strictly telemedicine and then just keep my eye out and my ears open to if something
Yeah.
came up.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd have to travel like 30 minutes outside of town and it's not a nice area. So it's pretty rural and I don't know if like the whole point of being able to work from home and remotely is that it works with my family schedule. And so that would sort of like defeat the purpose of being able to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any competition in your area for this?
Not really. One of my friends who's a physician just opened like a holistic integrative medicine sort of longevity practice and I just saw her and she said, "Ashley, you need to do this. Like I am so busy." And so she's probably the only other person who's doing anything similar.
I gotcha. Okay. Um, well, there you go. I mean, she basically just told you, "Can you please be my competitor? I'm too busy."
I
Like,
can't take them all. She's booked out till August already and she just
oh,
opened in April.
oh, geez. Okay, yeah, we're recording this very beginning of May 2024 for those listening. So, I mean, you're talking about 4-month wait time. I mean, that's just insane. That just shows that you are in a good position and there is demand. Um, so yeah, it sounds like you're in a really good position here. Um, well, keep an eye out for somewhere. You'd be surprised what might open up here or there. You don't need anything crazy. It doesn't need to be super nice. It doesn't need to be on a main road.
Mhm.
If you can just find something a little bit cheaper that might need a little bit of work, fine, so be it. My first men's health practice was kind of in a shithole, little area off the main street in a bad part of town. I mean, there was homeless people walking around. I mean, it really was like in one of the worst parts of, the city that I live in. Okay. Like even patients, would come in and be like, man, you really picked a sketchy spot. Like they would even say that, but they didn't care. And it served our purposes for about the first year or so. And then I just happened to be driving down one of the main streets of my city, and there was a spot open like right on the main road. And it was a primary care practice that was moving to a new location. And so like it was like already set up. And I just drove by it. I called the landlord and she was just like, I already have a few calls. I'm like, let's sign it, let's sign the lease right now. And so I met
Mhm.
her literally in 24 hours and it was signed and it was mine. And then me and the medical assistant went in there and, we painted the walls and we did some stuff. We spent a weekend kind of making the place look nice, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. You don't need an amazing position or an amazing spot at first. You can pivot, you can transition later as you begin making more money and when something comes up. So I really, really think that if you want to grow locally, really strive for trying to find something if you can. You
Mhm.
only need 500 square feet. You do not need that much space. Okay.
Yeah.
So just look around and see if there's anything available. You might be surprised. There might be. Um, my first men's health location, I literally found the listing on Craigslist.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't listed anywhere else. There wasn't even a sign or anything. It was on Craigslist of all places. So, the landlord was kind of sketchy, but whatever. I didn't care.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out. Look on Facebook Marketplace, look on Craigslist, look in the newspaper, there's commercial real estate places in your area. I'm sure that, that'll have listings, and just go drive around. You might be surprised. You might see a for rent sign, taped to a window or something. You
Mhm.
never know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, stuff is going up here constantly, just new developments, new plazas, new office buildings. So there's got to be old stuff that is coming available if all of that is being filled and built. So you're right. I
I
should go
I
drive around.
yeah, just go drive around. I can guarantee you there's probably something that's affordable, between 1,000 and $1,500 a month. I guarantee you there probably is. Okay.
Mhm.
The benefit of having that is that you have a local watering hole, so to speak, for your patients. People can come in, they can shake, you can shake their hand, you can see them in person. If you hire a medical assistant or a receptionist right from the beginning, someone's going to be in there. People can just walk in, that sort of a thing. And most importantly, too, it gives you the power of having a Google business listing. And it's so important that it really is a non-negotiable thing when people start a business. Like, you have to have a Google business listing. Even if you're telemedicine only, you need to figure out a way to have a Google business listing locally. Even if
Mhm.
it's just, in an office building and it's one little tiny office that's 100 square feet, it doesn't matter. You have an address and now you can tie it to that Google business listing, because to have a Google business listing, you have to have a physical address.
Mhm.
So very, very important.
And so what would you recommend as far as like using my other licenses and marketing myself that way? Because I mean, I know there's a company called Clarity Health that you can use in psychiatry that they will market you and they basically take you on and put you everywhere. And it's like $100 a month. Um, but I can't get in touch with anybody over there. And I'm just wondering if there's anything else like that that would be specific to the other licenses that I have. I don't know how to reach those people.
Yeah. So, that's the problem with telemedicine, right? Is that how do people even know you even exist?
Right.
And it's kind of a saturated market. Um, you search for telemedicine weight loss on Google and you're going to get, thousands of thousands of results. So how do people
Yeah.
find you, right? Um, Yeah, and the Google business listing in that regard doesn't really apply because, they can't really see that Google business listing unless they look it up specifically. But if they do look it up specifically and you have lots of five-star reviews and whatnot, then it makes it look more legit to them, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, but that doesn't really help you get the patients in other states. I mean, if you have licenses in a bunch of independent states, how do people know about you? And so to do that, you have to advertise in those states. You have to spend some money marketing in those states so people are aware that you exist. And so that can be kind of difficult, but Google search ads, I think, are some of the most effective um, advertising things that you could do. So you'd basically create, a Google ad campaign in the state that you want to be in. And I would be even more specific than that. I wouldn't be statewide. I would be very localized in those states. So instead of having a search ad that's statewide, you'd have a search ad that's town-wide, city-wide, that sort of a thing. Because when you get into Google Ads and you create the ads, you could target specific zip codes, specific cities, those kinds of things. Okay. So you pick a couple spots and you advertise in those spots and call it a day. And you find those spots by just doing some basic market research. Okay. So a good strategy to do is just literally get on Google Maps and type in weight loss clinic or integrative psych clinic or whatever, and just start scrolling around the map, searching areas and try to find deserts for those specific services and then advertise in that desert. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Super easy strategy. Takes an hour of your time. And then you just create the Google ads and, you pop them in there. I mean, because I can guarantee you that there's people in every single town in this country looking for a weight loss clinic. And so the first place they're going to go to is they're going to go to their phone. They're going to load up the Google Maps, their browser, whatever it is, and they're going to type in weight loss clinic near me, weight loss clinic, whatever their city is. And they're going to call places that are local to them first. And if your search ad is specific to that area, then they'll see it. And, you would just hope that they would actually click on it. So what you could do is in the ad copy of the weight loss ad, let's just pick a random city, for example. What's one of the independent states that you're in?
Hawaii, Arizona, Iowa, Massachusetts. I guess we could do Boston.
Yeah, Boston's going to be super saturated.
Yeah.
So so let's just say Arizona. Let's just pick let's just pick Scottsdale or something. Okay. It's probably saturated as hell too. But anyway, so you would create the ad and you would say, weight loss clinic serving Scottsdale, weight loss clinic serving Boston, weight loss clinic servicing Sierra Vista, Arizona or something. You know what I mean? So you have to create a separate ad for each one of those locations. While it might sound like a lot of work, it's really not. You're just copying, pasting stuff basically. Yeah. And then that way it's a little bit more specific to that area and people hopefully will click on it.
Awesome.
Do that, $500 to $1,000 a month, see what happens. You're going to have to experiment here. You're going to pick some cities, you're going to pick some towns that, it's crickets. And you'll just keep doing that until you find some gold mines, basically. I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that.
You can do this on Facebook as well, but the power of a Google search ad is that it is specific to what those people are searching for. Okay. So they are hot leads. When you advertise on Facebook, you can't advertise to people who are interested in that service. Okay. You can advertise to a specific demographic. You can advertise to a specific target market, but you don't know if that target market is interested in what it is that you're providing. But a Google search ad, someone gets on Google, types in weight loss clinic. They are interested in weight loss. They already know they want treatment. They already know they want this service. They are a hot lead. Okay. Then hopefully they'll click on your ad and schedule an appointment. When you blast out on Facebook, you're just blasting out an ad to people and you have no idea if they're interested or not. Does that make sense?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So focus on a Google search ad. Really try to, fine tune it. If you can get legit script certified, it'll make the Google search ads a lot more effective, but it can be expensive to get legit script certified. And it does take some time. You spend a couple $1,000, but it could be worthwhile.
Okay.
Yeah. Clinics that use legit script tend to be seen on Google a lot better than ones that aren't, because Google recognizes that you're actually certified, that you actually provide this. You're not some scam in Singapore or something like that. You know what I mean? So they're going to prioritize your business in those search ads, and you will get a lot more quality leads.
Yeah, that sounds worth it.
Totally worth it. If I was to open up a telemedicine practice today, that'd be one of the first things I would do.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
It's a pay to play, it's a pay to win thing, but it's just a game, right? It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just part of the overhead, I think. And if it will give me a leg up, then it's definitely worth it.
100%, especially if you want to focus on telemedicine. Okay.
Yeah.
Telemedicine's a marketing game, nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to spend money to get patients and to get leads. You just do. That is also one of the powerful things about a local practice is that you do not have to pay as much to market it because people know you're there, word of mouth, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's the beautiful thing about a hybrid practice. You get the best of both.
You both, right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all elite nurse practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and the other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. Any questions about marketing? I know that was kind of one of your big concerns here with starting this practice and, how do you get patient volume? How do you get leads? So do you have any other questions there?
I don't think so right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. I think if you start there, it probably will pay off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And don't hire a marketer. Don't hire a marketer to do this. Okay. Do this yourself. You pay a marketer, you're paying them $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month to manage ads. That doesn't even include the ad spend itself. So you're paying someone $2,000 or $3,000 to manage the ads, and then you're paying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, whatever it is, for the actual ads themselves. So you can skip paying ad management costs by hiring a marketer, and that should save you a lot of money. You can use that money instead on the actual ad spend.
And then what I've heard basically from your podcast is that other people who have used marketers, it hasn't been worth the money they invested. A lot of them, it hasn't really helped that much or didn't bring in as many leads as they expected.
Correct. I would say probably based off of, who I've spoken to through email, podcasts, consults, whatever. I mean, I've spoken to hundreds of nurse practitioners, maybe 1,000 at this point, and I will say probably 95% of the time, a marketer is a waste of money and it does not pay for itself. The only time it really pays for itself is if you have a very large practice, multiple providers, and you have a large budget. Then it can be worthwhile. But for just a self-employed nurse practitioner starting their practice, or just, who owns one practice and just is happy getting up to $400,000 or $500,000 a year in income, it's really not necessary.
Yeah. I definitely will try it myself for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions marketing wise?
No, I don't think so. Okay.
So you want to start this successfully from the get-go. So I think we've covered a few things here that will help with that. The startup process, what have you completed at this point?
So my biggest hang up right now is the EHR. I'm using the eCharm, and getting everything set up with them has been just a little time consuming because I'm doing it, between patients, between jobs. So that process has been a little lengthy, but I have the LLC, I have the bank account, I have the malpractice insurance. Do I need any kind of insurance other than malpractice insurance?
If you have a physical location, you want just general business liability.
Okay.
That covers you for if someone falls and breaks a hip or something.
Right.
Right. Or a fire starts or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If you're telemedicine only, I would stick to your malpractice insurance and call it a day. I wouldn't spend a bunch of money on cybersecurity insurance and all this crap. So it's a waste of money.
Okay. Yeah. I have the phone number, I have the fax, email, website. Basically, the last part is that I'm just waiting for them to approve my ERX so that I can open up my calendar and start taking patients. So then the next step was just, other than these word of mouth patients that I'm bringing from previous practices, how do I kind of get myself out there and let people know what I'm doing?
Well,
But
that's the
we've covered that already. Yeah.
yeah, that's the marketing, right? The patients that are already interested, obviously, I mean, if they're reaching out to you, then just, hey, this is what I'm doing and whatever. I would avoid soliciting patients from the other
Oh yeah. No,
business. Yeah,
I won't
don't
do
do that. But
that.
if they reach out to you, there's no harm in that, right?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
meant like the therapists that they're waiting for me to open up my calendar because there are some patients that were upset that I was let go from the previous job, but not my would not solicit patients from my current
Okay.
job.
Okay. Good deal. Yeah, that's a great way to get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So it sounds like I mean, you have the general structure of this business done, basically. How much are you paying for this EMR?
Right now it's $45 a month.
Oh, well, okay. That's
Yeah,
a no.
it's nothing.
It's nothing. That's a no-brainer. Okay. The website, how much money did you spend on that, or did you make it yourself?
Free. I made it myself.
You use GoDaddy
And
or Wix or something, or what?
yeah, just through GoDaddy. And from what I can tell from friends and family who have looked at it, they said it looks really good. Um, It's simple. I mean, I'm only doing like 3 types of visits. Right now, it's just geared towards psychiatry patients because that was originally where I thought I would start with marketing, because I was just thinking I really need to find like a niche that is smaller than integrative holistic medicine, just because I felt like that was too broad of a group to reach. Um, but I guess I should rethink that and maybe market it a little bit more towards the integrative so that people know that I'm doing kind of everything, not just
Yeah.
like.
Well, you want to try to be focused here. You don't want to be a jack of all trades person, okay? You want to be somewhat focused. You want to make sure that what you're doing is all complementary to each other and aligns with it, and that it
Mhm.
doesn't confuse patients, landing on your website. So, you really need to figure out what it is that you want to do. If you want to do integrative psych, but also offer weight loss and hormone replacement therapy or whatever, make sure it's still tied back to that psych.
Okay.
So, are you depressed because you're overweight, or is your weight getting you down? Um, are you on antidepressants, and are you middle aged? It might not be your brain. It could just be your hormones. You gotta be thinking
Yeah.
of stuff like that, right? That, it makes sense. Stay
Because what I
focused.
Right, because what I can say is that I really like what I'm doing right now with these 1099 jobs. Um, medical weight loss is pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward,
It's easy.
very impactful. I mean, we're helping people who really need to lose weight, and these medicines work. So
Yeah.
that part is pretty rewarding. But then also getting to use the family practice with the urgent care stuff. I mean, I'm doing like erectile dysfunction and like rosacea, anti-aging, and then also doing like televisits for psychiatry patients. So it's through like these different companies, but I do like everything that I'm doing. And it would be nice to be able to sort of meet everyone's needs as they arise, sort of from the starting point of just feeling sort of mentally not great. I mean, I'm not trying to treat schizophrenia and bipolar. So,
Right. You're doing depression, anxiety, insomnia. You're doing basic stuff that falls within the scope of a family nurse practitioner.
right. Yeah.
Right. So, that sounds great, but just don't make it your focus and don't market that. Like, don't say on your website, I treat rosacea too. That just
No.
where the hell does that come into play?
Right.
But if a
Yeah.
patient has it, sure, treat it. I mean, I treat all kinds of stuff. At my men's health practice, I'll give some guys Decadron injections in their knees, their shoulders. I'll
Yeah.
treat blood pressure. I'll treat lipids. Like, I'm not just doing testosterone and calling it a day. If someone has another issue, I mean, I'm gonna address it, right?
I mean, because that's what we're taught to do, to treat the whole picture, right? I mean, that's why it was kind of
Cor
frustrating to be in psychiatry because I was like telling patients, you really need to go and have your hormones checked. I promise you, this is not a magic pill, you know? So
Right, right.
addressing everything in one place, like being able to do that for them, help with everything is nice,
A hundred
definitely
per
my goal.
Yeah, yeah. So make it your focus then to be an integrative health provider. Okay. You could just call it integrative health. You don't necessarily have to call it integrative mental health. You call it integrative health, and you can make your focus, treating, mental health, helping you reduce your weight loss, optimizing your hormones. Okay. All that falls into it, and it would give you a focus. It'll give you a brand
Okay.
versus I do mental health, hormones, weight loss, dermatology, sick care, acute visits, blah, blah, blah. Like, like what? What do you do? You do
Right.
everything, it sounds like.
Too confusing.
It's confusing, right? And it's very, very difficult to market something like that.
Mhm.
So, so, so have your focus be more of like an integrative health. Or if you want to do integrative mental health, that's fine, but just tie it all back to that one focus.
Okay.
Yeah. And what you'll find is that most patients coming, through your door, after 3 to 6 months or whatever, you're like, God, 80% of my patients are just weight loss patients. Well, that's where you
Mhm.
shift your focus then. That's where the money is.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
the problem is, I mean, it's a huge problem here, so if I
Huge, huge problem. It affects every body system every
yeah,
single system in your body. Yeah. You lose weight, you feel a hell of a lot better. Your knees stop hurting, your back stops hurting, your lipids go down, your A1C improves,
you're
you
not
sleep
depressed or
better.
anxious. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're not depressed, you're not anxious anymore. Right. So that should be your focus because weight loss right now is an absolute gold mine. I mean,
Mhm.
it is so high demand right now that it's almost impossible not to make money and when doing it.
And I'm just so tired of making other people money. Like at these 1099 jobs, I don't get paid that great and I'm working hard. So it would be nice to just be able to do it myself and not, you know, be a little minion for somebody else's business.
Preach it. Preach it. Like I mean, that's just the truth. Eh, I'll never work for someone ever again. I'm just not going to, you
Yeah.
know.
So
Maybe on a
done.
yeah, maybe on a contracted basis or something where I'm producing something, I'm getting paid, fairly for it, then I might consider it. But as a contract, like as a nurse practitioner, I will never work for someone ever again. Ever. You know.
Just crazy how differently we are treated in the system. I mean, I can't, my whole career as a nurse practitioner, I have been treated like I am just the money maker. All I do is, see as many patients as you can. You're taking calls after hours. You're answering messages between visits. It's just like constant work until you burn out and you go somewhere else and run the same cycle.
Right. For a generous $75 an hour.
Right, exactly, for not even close to what I'm bringing in for the company. And that's one
Oh,
mistake my first job did was they showed us our numbers. And I was like, I am bringing in for this agency a good 3 times my salary, at least.
right. Where does that money go? There's
And I'm
expenses, but there's not that many.
not when some of the other providers who are not making or not seeing as many patients are making double what I'm making.
Right.
How is that justified?
Just because they're an MD. Well, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, it's still just what you produce.
Right, we're still seeing the same patients. My load is not less acute or less complicated. It's the same patient load, same
Right.
demographic, same everything. So
Same
why am I
everything.
getting less and working more?
Right. And you're probably seeing more patients too.
Way more, way
Way
more.
more. Right. Yeah. So, I get an MD DO. I mean, I know the school, they go through it is very difficult. It is taxing. There's a lot of training, et cetera. But we live in a capitalistic society, a capitalist country. And at the end of the day, when it comes to business, it's what you produce. And if you're producing more, then you should be paid more.
And I'm not saying that they're paid unfairly. or that they need to be paid less. I'm just saying, I mean, they earned their degree and they've earned their pay, but why are we paid so much less when we are doing essentially the same job in most cases?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right. I agree. I agree. So, you're 40 years old, lesson learned. It's time to just venture on your own and build your own thing. So that way you're compensated fairly. I mean, I can't tell you how many nurse practitioners that I know who are making 300, 400, $600,000 a year through their own business.
I
That's
would never
profit.
see them working for someone else. I would
No,
never,
you would never. The
not even
highest, not even close. The highest pay I've heard from a nurse practitioner once was $250,000 being employed. They worked for some dermatologist or something, and she was being paid production. I mean, she worked her ass off, but she made a lot of money.
and she
But
probably felt compensated and, appreciated for that position. Maybe like the one
right, exactly. The dermatologist value what she was doing, and so
saw her
paid her.
value, right?
Yeah. But unfortunately, most healthcare systems, most practices and stuff like that anymore are corporate ran, and profit is the absolute most important thing. And they're going to do what they can to increase that profit. So we're in a system that's working against us pretty much. So
Mhm.
give the system your middle finger and start your own thing.
I'm gonna
So
try.
you're going to try. I mean, it sounds like, you got a good service line here. I mean, it sounds like you know what you're doing. You're educated, you have experience. Like now it's just time to leverage that, start your own thing, go out there, take a little bit of a risk and just see what happens. At the end of the day, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're out $10,000 it cost you to start this. That sucks, but it's not the end of the world, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the chances of you succeeding are far higher than failing here. I mean, the area you're in is not saturated. You have multiple states. You provide a service that's in demand. You got a winning situation here to, scale a business.
I think the key is exactly what you said. I am gonna have to focus more on doing the hybrid model and having something local so that I can market it that way, just to at least start building income through it.
Yep. And what you probably find is that you probably make more money locally than you do telemed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least
Most,
it'll happen faster, probably.
and it'll be faster too. Yeah. And it'll be cheaper to do too. I mean, most nurse practitioners that I know who have a hybrid practice, most of them make more money locally than they do telemed in other states. Now that's not 100% true in all cases, but in most cases it is. I'd say maybe 20% it is otherwise. And those
Mhm.
people that succeed have had a lot of money to start with in terms of marketing goes, or they produced a lot of content online and build an organic following through, TikTok shorts or YouTube videos or, whatever it is. I mean, that's another route you can take as well, but it's a lot of work. Like you can build content, post it on YouTube, post it on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and hope people find it valuable. If they find it valuable, then you're going to get patients. You're going to get clients. They're going to be like, okay, wow. Oh, no, she's in my state. Great. They're going to call you up. They're going to go to your website. Doing that, though, takes a lot of work and you got to be very, very persistent. And it'll probably take 1 to 2 years for it to really pay off. But it's free.
Mhm.
It just takes your time.
And I don't know if I can be that dedicated and consistent to posting every day. And because you have to do it enough that the algorithm picks it up. So,
Correct. You need to be posting a video at least 3 times a week or an article, 4 or 5 times a week. Like you have to be very, very persistent. That's why, with the Elite NP, I grew so fast. I was persistent.
and I'm just not that into social media. So I don't know if I could make myself do it enough
Yeah. Yeah.
for it to
Well,
work.
well, there you go. So I would say focus more locally then, let that build up and then expand, via telemed and do that. Start this part time for now. You only need to be seeing patients 1 or 2 days a week. Okay. You don't need to be seeing patients every single day. Just 1 or 2 days a week is all you got to do. I never saw patients at my men's health clinic more than 1 day a week, ever. Okay. And let it grow, see what happens, continue working your 1099 positions, keep funneling money into the business, invest that money into the business. And before you know it, your business will start producing more money than you're making it through your 1099. And then at that point is when you leave your 1099 positions and really go all in on your business. That's the safest way to do it.
Yep.
So yeah. Any other questions?
I don't think so. This was very helpful.
Good. All right. So you listened to the podcast before. So I like to end the episode with you asking me a question, any kind of personal curiosity or a question directly to for me.
Where are you located?
I am in the southwest area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I moved out west because almost all the states west of the Mississippi are independent. So
Yeah.
so I was like, I was on the East Coast, kind of around South Carolina, that area. And well, I'm going to move. So I moved out west to an independent state. Best decision I ever made, financially speaking, anyways.
Yeah. It is frustrating to practice independently in 6 of my 8 states. And then the one that I live in is so restricted. That's where I live. I live in South Carolina.
Right. It is. It's frustrating, right? You're like, I can log on my website. I can log on to my EMR, see a patient in Arizona, and I don't have to have any of this nonsense and this crap. And then I just walk down the street and I have to have a supervisor now. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I have to pay the supervisor and pay for him to have access to my EHR so that he can review charts, 5 charts a month. And it's just like annoying.
5 charts a month. Whoop-dee-doo.
And most of the time he'd be like, that was great. Great note.
Great note. Right. Yeah. And I worked at an urgent care for a couple years, and I never even met my supervisor one time. I barely even knew what she looked like. I talked to her on the phone and over that 2-year period a couple times. And she was basically just agreeing with the question or basically the question I had and the answer I had. Like she was just, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, thanks, doc.
It's always nice to have colleagues who you can bounce ideas off and bounce cases off, but it's just frustrating that, it's required and I have to pay someone to do that. And I literally never reach out. I don't do things that I'm not meant to do, if that makes sense. Like my place, I know my scope and I practice within it, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah. It's easy money for them. I don't blame them.
It is. Yeah. I don't blame them for doing it either. And
I don't blame them.
Otherwise I wouldn't be able to practice in South Carolina.
Right. So yeah, grateful for it. And, they're making some money. So, well, cool deal. All right. Well, this is a great episode. We hit some points here that hopefully helped you out. And so if you ever want to do a follow-up or whatever, just you shoot me an email. I'd love to do a follow-up with you.
Thank you so much. It was very helpful. I appreciate your time.
All right. You're welcome. Take care. Bye. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation with Ashley. A lot of good stuff there. I think the biggest thing here is that it's super important that you have your focus, okay? You don't want to do all kinds of different things. I can't stand when people email me and, they send me their website. They do weight loss, and they do hormone replacement therapy. They do IV infusions, primary care, acute sick visits. They do all this stuff, and it just doesn't align. There's no focus above it. So make sure you find your focus in your practice, okay? If she does her focus as integrative health or integrated mental health, then she can integrate a bunch of services into it underneath that. All right, hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.